The HFY fleet came out of faster-than-light travel like a swarm of metal insects. 200 warships, each one bigger than the research station, filled the space around the ancient ruins. Their black hulls reflected no light, and their weapon ports glowed red like angry eyes. Captain Lee Do-hyun watched from the station's command center as the enemy ships took positions around them. His crew worked at their stations with calm faces as if this happened every day. "They're not even trying to hide their numbers," said Lieutenant Commander Nam Ji-hoon, studying the sensor readings. 200 ships, all armed for heavy combat. "They want us to be scared," replied Dr. Park Min-ji. She was checking her medical equipment again, making sure everything was ready. Engineer Kim Tae-hyun looked up from his console. "Captain, all station systems are responding normally. We're ready for whatever comes next." The largest HFY ship moved closer to the station. It was a massive thing, covered with weapons and armor plating. Scars from old battles marked its dark surface. "Incoming transmission," announced Specialist Yoon Hara from the communication station. Her fingers danced over her controls as she worked. "Put it on the main screen," Do-hyun ordered. The view screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the HFY flagship. The creature standing in the center was tall and covered in gray scales. 4 arms ended in clawed hands, and his eyes glowed yellow in the dim light of his ship. This was War Prime Hexth, leader of the HFY fleet. "Unknown station," Hexth's voice was like grinding metal. "You will surrender immediately. All beings on your station will be processed for slavery. Your technology will become property of the HFY Empire." Ambassador Choi Soo-jin stepped up beside Captain Do-hyun. Her diplomatic training kept her face calm, but her hands were clenched into fists. "This is Research Station Alpha 7, Do-hyun replied in a steady voice. "This station is under human protection. Withdraw your fleet immediately." On the screen, War Prime Hexth made a sound that might have been laughing. His crew members, other HFY warriors, clicked their claws together in what was probably amusement. "Human protection?" Hexth leaned forward, showing rows of sharp teeth. "We know about humans. Weak species. Good for medical work and fixing machines. No weapons, no armies, no courage for real fighting." "You've been warned," Do-hyun said. "Leave this system now." "Or what?" Hexth's eyes glowed brighter. "You will fix us to death? Heal us into surrender? Humans are useful slaves, nothing more." The transmission ended. The HFY flagship moved even closer to the station, its weapon ports glowing brighter. "Captain," Ji-hoon said quietly, "they're charging weapons." "I can see that. All of them are charging weapons." Through the station's windows, the human crew could see the red glow from 200 warships getting ready to fire. Any normal station would be destroyed in seconds under that much firepower. "Hera," Do-hyun said, "open a channel to the Harmony's edge." "Channel open, sir." "Captain Kim, are you ready?" From the human ship came a calm voice. "Ready and waiting, Captain Do-hyun." On the sensor displays, something strange began to happen. The Harmony's edge, which had been sitting quietly near the station like a normal diplomatic ship, started to change. Its smooth outer hull began to shift and reshape itself. "What's happening to your ship?" Min-ji asked, though her voice suggested she already knew. "Just some modifications," Engineer Tae-hyun replied with a small smile. The HFY seemed to notice. Something was happening, but they didn't understand what. War Prime Hexth appeared on the screen again. "Last chance, humans. Surrender now or we destroy your station and take whatever pieces are left." "No," Do-hyun said simply. Hexth's expression changed to pure anger. "Fire on the outer modules. Show them what happens to those who refuse the HFY." 20 of the enemy ships turned their weapons toward the research station's outer sections. Bright energy beams cut through space and struck the station's outer ring, where some of the alien research teams had been working just hours before. The explosion lit up the nebula. Pieces of metal and equipment scattered into space. If anyone had still been in those sections, they would have died instantly. "Damage report," Do-hyun said. "Outer ring sections 4 through 7 are gone," Ji-hoon replied. but all the important systems are still working. Dr. Park Minji was already moving toward the medical bay. I'll check for any injuries from the blast. As she left, she paused near Ambassador Sujin. The alien evacuation ships got away safely. They're probably watching from the edge of the system. Good, Sujin replied. They'll need to see this. See what? Asked Specialist Hira. See what happens when someone threatens people under human protection, Sujin answered. On the main screen, War Prime Hexth was speaking to his crew, probably giving orders for a full attack on the station. But as he talked, his expression slowly changed to confusion. Captain, Jihoon said, studying his sensor readings. I'm getting some strange energy signatures from the Kethvar ships. Strange how? Like they're having problems with their weapon systems. Engineer Taehyun looked up from his console. The Harmony's edge is fully transformed now. Through the windows, the human crew could see their ship had completely changed shape. Where before it had been a simple diplomatic vessel, now it looked like something built for war. New weapon ports had appeared along its hull, and energy shields flickered around its surface. Impossible, War Prime Hexth growled from the screen. Humans don't have warships. Our intelligence reports show only peaceful vessels. Your intelligence. Reports are 50 years out of date, Captain Do-hyun replied. Something else was happening on the sensor displays. New contacts were appearing throughout the system. Dozens of them, then hundreds. Captain, Jihoon's voice was tight with excitement. We have multiple ships decloaking all around us. The empty space around the Kethvar fleet suddenly filled with human vessels. They appeared from nowhere, as if they had been invisible until this moment. Each one was clearly designed for combat, with weapons and armor that made even the Kethvar ships look small. War Prime Hexth stared at his own sensor displays, his forearms moving frantically over his controls. This is not possible. There were no ships detected in this system. You weren't supposed to detect them, Ambassador Sujin said, stepping forward. They've been here all along, waiting. More human ships kept appearing. The Kethvar fleet of 200 warships was suddenly surrounded by over 1,000 human vessels, all of them larger and more heavily armed than anything the galaxy had seen before. How? Hexth demanded. Our scouts reported only one human ship in this system. Your scouts saw what we wanted them to see, Do-hyun replied. One diplomatic ship and a research station. That's all anyone was supposed to know about. Dr. Park. Minji returned from the medical bay. No injuries from the blast. But I should warn you. The alien evacuation ships are still watching from the system's edge. They can see everything that's happening here. That's the idea, Sujin said. On the sensor displays, more human ships continued to appear. Some were massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed even the Kethvar flagship. Others were smaller, faster ships that moved in perfect formation around the enemy fleet. Jihoon, Do-hyun said, open a channel to all ships in the system. Channel open, sir. Captain Do-hyun's voice carried to every ship in the area, human and Kethvar alike. War Prime Hexth, you have attacked a research station under human protection. You have destroyed property and threatened the lives of innocent beings. This is your only chance to withdraw your fleet and leave this system. We outnumber your ships, Hexth replied, but his voice had lost some of its confidence. No, said Ambassador Sujin, you really don't. Even more human vessels appeared on the sensors. The space around the ancient ruins was now filled with so many ships that they blocked out the stars. The Kethvar fleet, which had seemed so large and threatening just minutes before, was now a tiny group surrounded by an ocean of human warships. Impossible, Hexth whispered. Intelligence reports say humans have no military. You are peaceful species, diplomats and healers. We are diplomats and healers, Dr. Park Minji said from her medical station. That's what we chose to be. But choice doesn't mean inability. Engineer Taehyun looked up from his console. All human ships report ready, Captain. Ready for what? War Prime Hexth asked, and for the first time, there was fear in his voice. Captain Do-hyun stood up from his command chair. Around him, his crew worked with the same calm efficiency they always showed, as if commanding a fleet of 1,000 warships was just another day's work. Ready to show you what a human will do. Do-hyun replied. When you threaten people we care about. Captain Lee Do-hyun stood at the large window of Research Station Alpha 7, watching the strange purple clouds of the Helix Nebula swirl in the distance. The ancient ruins below the station glowed softly, with an unknown energy that made his skin tingle, even through the thick metal walls. "Captain, the morning reports are ready," said Dr. Park Min-ji as she walked up behind him. She carried a data pad and had that tired look she always got when she worked too late studying alien specimens. "How are our friends doing today?" Do-hyun asked, turning away from the window. Min-ji smiled. The Vorthak research team found 3 new symbols in the lower chambers. They're very excited. The Milani think the symbols might be some kind of star map, but the Gricks say the math doesn't work out right. Do-hyun nodded. For 2 years now, the 4 species had worked together on this station, trying to understand the ruins of whoever lived here long ago. The humans handled most of the technical work, keeping the station running and helping translate between the different alien languages. The other species did the main research work. That's how it always was. Humans were useful, but not really important. They fixed things, helped with communication, and provided medical care. The galaxy saw them as peaceful helpers who weren't very good at fighting, but were nice to have around. "Any word from the Harmony's Edge?" Do-hyun asked. "Engineer Kim Tae-hyun says the ship's systems are running perfectly. He finished the weekly maintenance early and is helping the Vorthak team with their digging equipment." Do-hyun walked toward Yo, the central command area of the station. Other humans moved around him, checking displays and talking quietly with their alien co-workers. The Vorthak looked like giant ants walking on 2 legs, with clicking sounds that served as their language. The Milani floated in the air like glowing clouds of light that changed color when they spoke. The Gricks were living crystals that grew, in different shapes depending on their mood. All of them were much older species than humanity. They had been traveling between stars for thousands of years before humans even learned to fly. Most of them thought humans were like young children, eager to help but not very important in the big picture of galaxy politics. "Captain," called Lieutenant Commander Nam Ji-hoon from the communication station. "I'm picking up something on the long-range sensors, multiple ships coming our way." Do-hyun walked over quickly. "How many?" "Hard to tell at this distance, but it looks like a lot. Maybe 100 ships or more." Dr. Park Min-ji frowned. "That's strange. We weren't expecting any visitors." Around the command center, the alien researchers stopped their work and listened. The Vorthak team leader, who the humans called Click because his real name had too many clicking sounds, moved his antenna nervously. "What ships?" Click asked in his broken human language. "Not supposed to be ships here." The Milani researcher, named Bright Morning Light, flickered from blue to worried orange. "We must check identification codes." Ji-hoon worked at his station for several minutes while everyone waited. Finally, he looked up with a serious expression. "Captain, those are HFY ships." The alien researchers all made sounds of fear. Click's antenna went flat against his head. Bright Morning Light turned a dark red color. The Grix team leader made a sound like breaking glass. "HFY?" Min-ji whispered. "Are you sure?" Everyone in the galaxy knew about the HFY. They were a war-loving species that traveled from system to system, taking over planets and making slaves of the people who lived there. They had destroyed dozens of civilizations and turned whole species into workers for their empire. "We must leave immediately," said Bright Morning Light, now flashing bright yellow with panic. "All research teams must evacuate at once." Click was already calling his team members over the station's communication system, telling them in their clicking language to pack only the most important research data. The Grix team leader, who humans called Crystal because his real name sounded like musical notes, began growing sharp spikes all over his body, a sign that he was ready to fight or run. "How long until they arrive?" Do-hyun asked. "About 6 hours at their current speed," Ji-hoon replied. "That's enough time to get everyone out," Min-ji said. "The evacuation ships can be ready in 2 hours." All around the station, alarms began to sound as the alien teams prepared to leave. The Vorthak moved quickly on their 6 legs, gathering their equipment. The Milani floated rapidly through the hallways, communicating in flashes of light. The Grix made singing sounds to coordinate their efforts. "Captain Dohyun," said Click, approaching the human command area. "Your people come with us, yes? Cathvar kill humans too, not just kill aliens." Dohyun looked at his crew. Minji was checking her medical supplies. Jihoon was monitoring the approaching fleet. Engineer Kim Tae-hyun had come up from the lower levels and was looking at the sensor readings. "No," Dohyun said quietly. "We're staying." The alien researchers stopped what they were doing and stared at him. "Staying?" Bright morning light flickered confused colors. "But Kethvar will kill you. Humans cannot fight Kethvar." "Yeah," said Crystal, his spikes growing longer. "Humans are peaceful species. You have no weapons, no warships. Kethvar will destroy you." Dr. Park Minji looked at her captain with understanding in her eyes. "Are you sure about this?" "I'm sure," Do-hyun replied. Kim Tae-hyun nodded. "The station's in good shape. All systems are ready." "Ready for what?" Click asked, his antenna twitching with confusion. Ambassador Choi Soo-jin walked into the command center. She had been in her office, probably sending messages to Earth. Her face was calm, but her eyes were hard. "The evacuation ships are ready," she announced to the alien teams. "You should all leave within the hour." "But what about humans?" asked Bright Morning Light. "You come too?" "No," Soo-jin replied. "Humans will remain here." The aliens looked at each other with expressions of disbelief and sadness. They had worked with these humans for 2 years and liked them. Now they thought the humans were choosing to die for no good reason. "This is foolish," Crystal sang in his musical voice. "Kethvar have many ships, many weapons. Research station has no defense." "We appreciate your concern," Do-hyun said. "But this station is now under human protection." Click made a sound like laughing but sad. "Human protection? You have 1 small ship and 43 people. Kethvar have war fleet." "Just go," Minji said gently. "Take your research and get to safety. That's what matters." One by one, the alien teams finished packing and headed to their evacuation ships. They kept looking back at the humans, shaking their heads and making sounds of sorrow. To them, the humans were committing suicide. As the last alien ship disappeared into space, the 43 humans left on the station went about their business calmly. There was no panic, no crying, no arguments about leaving. "Jihoon," Do-hyun said, "send a message to the Harmony's Edge. Tell them to prepare for visitors." "Yes, sir." "Taehyun, how are the station systems?" "All green, Captain. Everything's working perfectly." "Good. Minji, make sure the medical bay is ready." "Already done." Ambassador Soo-jin stood at the large window where Do-hyun had been earlier, watching the Kethvar fleet grow larger in the distance. "Do you think they'll understand?" she asked. "Eventually," Do-hyun replied. "Today the galaxy is going to learn something new about humans." War Prime Hex stared at his tactical displays in disbelief. Where moments before his fleet had faced a single research station and 1 small ship, they were now surrounded by more human vessels than his computers could count. "This cannot be real," he growled to his bridge crew. "Run full sensor sweeps. Find their weakness." On Research Station Alpha 7, Captain Lee Do-hyun watched the Kethvar ships scramble to understand their new situation. His crew worked quietly at their stations, monitoring the hundreds of human warships that had appeared around them. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Nam Jihoon, "Admiral Song is requesting permission to open communications." "Put him through." New face appeared on a smaller screen next to the main display. Admiral Song Kyung-ho looked like a man who had spent his whole life preparing for this moment. His uniform was different from the diplomatic clothes the other humans wore. This was clearly a military outfit. "Captain Do-hyun," Admiral Song's voice was calm and professional. "The defense fleet is in position. All ships report ready for combat. Operations." "Defense fleet?" War Prime Hex had been listening to the human communications. "You said you were a peaceful species." Dr. Park Minji looked up from her medical station. "We are peaceful. That doesn't mean we're defenseless." "The galaxy has misunderstood us for 50 years, added Ambassador Choi Soo-jin. Everyone saw our diplomats and healers and decided that was all we were. Engineer Kim Tae-hyun smiled as he worked at his console. People see what they expect to see. The galaxy expected humans to be weak, so that's what they saw. On the main display, War Prime Hex was getting reports from his ship captains. His forearms moved frantically over his controls as he tried to make sense of the tactical situation. "Sir," one of his officers reported, "their ships are using technology we don't recognize. Our weapons targeting systems can't lock onto them properly." "And sir," another officer added, "they're jamming our communications with the home fleet. We can't call for backup." Hexth's yellow eyes glowed with anger and fear. "How is this possible? Our intelligence network is the best in the galaxy. We have information on every species, every fleet, every weapon." "Your intelligence network has been looking at shadows," Captain Do-hyun replied. "For 50 years, every human ship you detected was either a diplomatic vessel or a cargo hauler. You never saw our real fleet because we never wanted you to." Specialist Yoon Hera turned from her communication station. "Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from the alien evacuation ships. They're still watching from the system's edge." "What are they saying?" asked Ambassador Sujin. "They want to know if this is really happening." The Vorthak team leader, Click, says he can't believe what his sensors are showing him. "They'll have even more trouble believing what comes next," Admiral Song said from his ship. "War Prime Hexth, this is your final warning. Withdraw your fleet from this system immediately." "Never," Hexth roared. "The Kethvar Empire does not retreat from inferior species. We have conquered 100 worlds. We have enslaved dozens of races. We will not be stopped by lying humans." He turned to his weapons officer. "All ships fire at will. Destroy them all." The Kethvar fleet opened fire with everything they had. 200 warships launched energy beams, missiles, and plasma charges at the surrounding human vessels. The space around the ancient ruins lit up like a small sun as thousands of weapons discharged at once. But something impossible happened. The human ships didn't explode or break apart. Instead, energy shields appeared around each vessel, absorbing the Kethvar weapons fire like it was nothing more than rain. "Shields holding at 98%, reported one of Admiral Song's officers. "Enemy weapons are having minimal effect." "How?" Hexth stared at his displays in horror. "Our weapons can crack planets in half." "Your weapons are 50 years behind our defenses," Engineer Tae-hyun said from the research station. "We've been studying every battle the Kethvar have ever fought. We know exactly how your weapons work." Dr. Park Min-ji looked up from her medical equipment. "The question is, do you know how ours work?" Admiral Song's voice came over the communications channel, calm and professional. "All human ships, you are authorized to return fire. Use minimum necessary force. What happened next would be talked about in the galaxy for centuries. The human fleet didn't fire everything at once like the Kethvar had. Instead, they fired precisely, carefully, each shot aimed at specific parts of the enemy ships. Kethvar weapons went offline. Their engines stopped working, their shields collapsed. In less than 5 minutes, 200 enemy warships were floating helplessly in space, completely disabled but not destroyed." "Impossible," War Prime Hexth whispered. "No species has ever defeated a Kethvar fleet in open combat." "No species has ever tried," Captain Do-hyun replied. "Most races either run away or get conquered before they can fight back. Humans prefer a third option." "Which is?" "We prepare." Major An Soo-young's voice came over the communication system. She was apparently leading boarding teams that were moving between the disabled Kethvar ships. "All enemy vessels secured," she reported. "Kethvar crews are alive but contained. No casualties on our side." "No casualties?" Hex looked confused. "You attacked our entire fleet and none of your people died?" "We've been planning this fight for decades," Admiral Song explained. "We know every detail of Kethvar ship design, every weakness in your tactics, every mistake your commanders make in battle." Ambassador Sujin stepped forward. "The galaxy thinks humans appeared 50 years ago as a new, peaceful species. That's not what happened. We'd been watching the galaxy for much longer than that." "Watching?" "Learning," Dr. Park Min-ji added. "We studied every species, every technology, every threat. When we finally revealed ourselves, we knew exactly what we were getting into. Engineer Taehyun looked up from his console. The Kethavar Empire has been conquering and enslaving species for 3,000 years. We have detailed records of every attack, every battle, every victory you've ever had. We know how you fight, Lieutenant Commander Ji-hoon said. We know how you think. We know what you'll do before you do it. On the main screen, War Prime Hexth slumped in his command chair. Around him, his bridge crew looked at their useless controls in defeat. You could have destroyed us, he said quietly. Your weapons could have killed every Kethavar in this fleet. Why didn't you? Because, Ambassador Sujin replied. We're not like you. We don't kill unless we have to. Then what happens to us now? Captain Do-hyun stood up from his command chair. That depends. Are you willing to listen? From her communications station, Specialist Hera spoke up. Captain, I'm getting messages from all over the galaxy. Word is spreading about what happened here. What kind of messages? Every species wants to know if the reports are true. Did humans really defeat a Kethavar fleet without firing a shot in anger? We fired plenty of shots, Admiral Song said. We just aimed them carefully. Dr. Park Min-ji finished checking her medical equipment and looked at the main screen. War Prime Hexth, your injured crew members are being treated by human medical teams. We don't let people suffer, even our enemies. Why? Hexth asked. We came here to enslave your people. We destroyed parts of your station. We would have killed you all. Yes, Captain Do-hyun replied. But you didn't succeed. And now you get to see what humans are really like. I don't understand. Ambassador Sujin walked closer to the main screen. For 50 years, the galaxy has seen humans as useful helpers. We fixed things, provided medical care, and helped with translations. Everyone thought that was all we could do. Today, Captain Do-hyun added, the galaxy learns what we choose not to do. Engineer Taehyun looked up from his station. We could have built an empire like yours, conquering species and taking their worlds. We had the technology and the knowledge to do it. Instead, Dr. Park Min-ji said, we chose to be healers and diplomats. Not because we were weak, but because we understood the cost of war. War Prime Hexth stared at the humans in silence for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. What do you want from us? We want you to go home. Captain Do-hyun replied. We want you to tell your empire what you learned here today. And we want you to think very carefully before you attack anyone under human protection ever again. Admiral Song's voice came over the communications system. The Kethavar fleet is free to leave this system. Their ships have been repaired and their weapon systems restored. But remember this moment, War Prime Hexth. Remember what happened when you threatened people we care about. As the disabled Kethavar ship slowly came back to life, War Prime Hexth looked at Captain Do-hyun one last time. The galaxy will not be the same after today. No, Do-hyun agreed. It won't. The Kethavar fleet limped away from the Helix Nebula, their black ships moving slowly through space like wounded animals. War Prime Hexth's flagship was the last to leave, and as it disappeared into faster-than-light travel, every being in the galaxy was about to learn something that would change everything. Ambassador Choi Sujin stood in the communications center of Research Station Alpha 7, preparing to send the most important message in human history. Around her, the station hummed with activity as the crew worked to restore the damaged sections and welcome back the alien research teams. Are you ready, Ambassador? Asked Captain Lee Do-hyun. As ready as anyone can be for this, Sujin replied. Specialist. Yoon Hera looked up from her console. All communication networks are standing by. This message will reach every inhabited world in the galaxy within 6 hours. Then let's begin. The message that went out was simple, direct, and would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. People of the galaxy, Ambassador Sujin began. Today you witnessed something that requires explanation. For 50 years, humanity has lived among you as diplomats, healers, engineers, and teachers. You have known us as a peaceful species, helpful but not particularly important in the great affairs of galactic politics. This was by choice, not by limitation. On 1,000 worlds, in the capitals of 100 species, leaders gathered around communication screens to hear what the humans had to say. The fleet you saw today, over 1,000 warships with technology beyond anything previously known in this galaxy, represents only a small portion of humanity's true capabilities. We have been preparing for threats like the HFY since before we first made contact with galactic civilization. Dr. Park Minji walked into the communications center, carrying a data pad with reports from the alien evacuation ships. The Vorthak, Milani, and Grix teams are requesting permission to return to the station. They want to continue their research. Of course, Captain Doyun replied. Tell them they're welcome back anytime. Ambassador Sujin continued her message, to the galaxy. Some of you will ask why we hid our true nature. The answer is simple. We hoped we would never need to reveal it. For 5 decades, we have worked to build peaceful relationships with every species we encountered. We became the healers and helpers because that is who we wanted to be. On distant worlds, alien leaders debated frantically among themselves, some prepared for war, thinking the humans would now conquer the galaxy. Others, especially those who had worked closely with humans over the years, began to understand something deeper. President Lim Wu-jin appeared on screen from Earth, joining the broadcast from humanity's homeworld. He was an older man with kind eyes, but there was steel in his voice. The human race has never sought to dominate others, President Lim said. Everything we have built, every ship in our fleets, every weapon in our arsenals, exists for one purpose: to protect those who cannot protect themselves. General Kang Hyunwoo, Supreme Commander of Human Military Forces, stepped into view beside the president. Unlike the diplomatic uniforms everyone was used to seeing humans wear, his military outfit was clearly designed for war. Today, the HFY learned what happens when someone threatens people under human protection, General Kang stated. They attacked a research station where humans worked alongside Vorthak, Milani, and Grix scientists. They destroyed property and threatened innocent lives. They learned that humans do not abandon their friends. Back on the research station, engineer Kim Tae-hyun was working to repair the damaged sections when Click, the Vorthak team leader, approached him. Kim Tae-hyun, Click said in his clicking language, is true what humans say? You always have big warships? Tae-hyun looked up from his work. Yes, Click, but we never wanted to use them. Why not? In Galaxy, strong species rule weak species. Is normal. That's exactly why we didn't want to use them, Tae-hyun replied. We don't want to rule anyone. We just want everyone to be safe. The broadcast continued with Ambassador Sujin explaining more about humanity's real history. What you saw today was not aggression, it was protection. The HFY have enslaved dozens of species and destroyed countless worlds. Today they learned that such behavior will no longer be tolerated in systems under human protection. But understand this, we do not seek to replace the HFY empire with a human one. We seek to end the age of empires entirely. On the Milani. Homeworld bright morning light floated in the council chambers, glowing with confused colors as he tried to explain to his people what he had witnessed. The humans saved us, he flashed in bright blue. But they have ships that could conquer our entire star system, yet they ask for nothing in return. The Milani Council flickered with uncertainty. This behavior made no sense to them. In their experience, powerful species always demanded tribute or territory from weaker ones. Dr. Park Minji took over the next part of the broadcast, speaking from the medical bay where she was treating minor injuries from the earlier attack. Many of you know humans as healers and teachers. This has not changed. We are still the same people who have worked alongside you for 50 years, who have helped treat your sick and taught your children. The only difference is that now you know we can protect what we care about. On the crystal homeworld of the Grix, the crystalline beings sang in harmonious confusion. Crystal, their representative who had been at the research station, was trying to explain to his people what he had seen. The humans could have destroyed the HFY fleet, he sang in musical tones. Their weapons were powerful enough to crack planets. Instead, they disabled the enemy ships and offered medical care to the wounded. The Grix Council vibrated with uncertainty. This level of restraint from such a powerful species was unprecedented in their long history. President Lim returned to the broadcast with more revelations. Some of you will wonder how large our true fleet is. The answer is large enough. We have been preparing for galactic threats for over a century. Every human colony, every research station, every diplomatic vessel has been equipped with defensive capabilities that we prayed we would never need to use. Today we use them for the first time. General Kang added, "The Kethvar fleet that attacked today consisted of 200 warships, one of their largest battle groups. They were defeated by a fraction of our available forces. Let this serve as a warning to any other species that profits from slavery and conquest." Captain Do-hyun received a message from Admiral Song Kyung-ho, who was still commanding the defense fleet around the research station. "Captain, we're receiving communications from governments across the galaxy. Most want to open diplomatic discussions immediately." "What kind of discussions?" Do-hyun asked. "Some want to surrender to us. Others want to form alliances. A few are demanding explanations for our deception over the past 50 years. Ambassador Sujin heard this and shook her head. "Tell them all the same thing. Humans are available for the same diplomatic relationships we've always offered. Nothing has changed except their understanding of who they're dealing with." The broadcast neared its end, with Ambassador Sujin delivering the final message that would reshape galactic politics. "To the peaceful species of this galaxy, know that human protection is freely offered to all who seek it. We will not charge tribute, demand territory, or require changes to your governments. We ask only that you treat your people justly and work toward a galaxy where strength protects rather than conquers. To the aggressive species who profit from war and slavery, know that the age of easy conquest is over. We will not start wars, but we will finish them. We will not seek out enemies, but we will defend our friends." Today, the galaxy learned what a human will do when innocent people are threatened. Tomorrow, we hope you will learn what we will do to build a better future for everyone. The broadcast ended, and across the galaxy, trillions of beings sat in stunned silence as they tried to understand what they had just learned. On Research Station Alpha 7, the human crew went back to their normal duties. Dr. Park Min-ji returned to studying alien biology. Engineer Kim Tae-hyun continued repairing equipment. Lieutenant Commander Nam Ji-hoon monitored communications from across the galaxy. Everything seemed normal, except for one thing. The galaxy would never see humans the same way again. "So what happens now?" asked Specialist Yoon Hyera. Captain Do-hyun looked out at the swirling purple clouds of the Helix Nebula, where the ancient ruins still glowed with their mysterious energy. "Now," he said, "we find out if the galaxy is ready to grow up." 3 months after the battle at Research Station Alpha 7, the galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. Some species had panicked and fled to distant star systems. Others had begged for human protection. A few had declared war on humanity, though none had actually attacked yet. But everything changed when the deep space monitoring stations detected something coming from the empty void between galaxies. Dr. Baek Ji-young was working late in the ancient ruins beneath the research station when she made the discovery that would explain everything. The symbols the alien research teams had been studying for 2 years suddenly made sense when viewed through human linguistic analysis programs. "Captain Do-hyun," she called over the communication system, "you need to see this immediately." "Captain." Lee Do-hyun found her in the deepest chamber of the ruins, surrounded by glowing symbols that covered the walls from floor to ceiling. "What did you find?" he asked. "It's a warning," Dr. Baek replied, pointing to the translated text on her data pad. "The species that built this place, they left a message for whoever came after them." She read from her translation, "The Devourers return every 10,000 years to harvest the galaxy. We could not stop them. Perhaps those who come next will be stronger." Captain Do-hyun stared at the ancient writing. Devourers, machine intelligences that consume entire star systems for resources. According to this, they destroyed the previous galactic civilization and went into deep space to process what they had taken. And now they're coming back. Yes. The deep space sensors detected them yesterday. Hundreds of ships, each one the size of a small moon, heading straight for the core systems of the galaxy. Within hours, Every human military commander in the galaxy was gathered in emergency session. Admiral Song Kyung-ho coordinated the meeting from his flagship, while President Lim Woo-jin and General Kang Hyun-woo joined from Earth. "How long do we have?" asked Admiral Song. 6 months until they reach the first inhabited systems, replied General Kang. Maybe 8 months until they reach the galaxy's major population centers. Can we evacuate the threatened worlds? There are over 1 billion inhabited planets in the galaxy, President Lim said grimly. We can't evacuate them all. Captain John Minho, commander of humanity's most advanced experimental warship, spoke up from his ship. What about fighting them? Do we have any chance against these devourers? Dr. Baek Ji-young, now on the main communications channel, shared her research. The ancient records suggest that the previous civilization had technology similar to what most galactic species have today. The devourers destroyed them easily. But we're not most galactic species, engineer Kim Tae-hyun pointed out. Our technology is decades ahead of everyone else. Is it enough? Asked Ambassador Choi Soo-jin. We're about to find out, General Kang replied. The first devourer ships entered the galaxy's outer rim systems 3 weeks early. They were even larger than the ancient records had suggested, massive constructs of dark metal and energy that absorbed light itself. They didn't communicate, they didn't negotiate. They simply began consuming everything in their path. The first system to fall was a small mining colony inhabited by the Trelock, a peaceful species that provided rare minerals to the rest of the galaxy. The devourer ships surrounded their 3 planets and began breaking them apart, processing the raw materials into more ships and weapons. The Trelock government sent desperate pleas for help across the galaxy. Most species offered sympathy but claimed they couldn't spare ships for a hopeless battle against impossible odds. The humans answered differently. "This is Admiral Song Kyung-ho of the Human Defense Fleet," came the reply. "Hold your positions. Help is on the way." Captain Do-hyun was aboard the research station when the call came for volunteers. Every human ship in the galaxy was being asked to join the fight against the devourers. "We're not a warship," Dr. Park Min-ji pointed out. "We're a research station." "Research stations can still make a difference," replied Engineer Tae-hyun, activating systems that transformed their peaceful facility into a mobile command center. The human fleet that assembled to fight the devourers was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Not just the military vessels that had been revealed during the Kethvar incident, but thousands of other ships, cargo haulers, passenger liners, research vessels, even personal craft, all equipped with the hidden military technology that humanity had been building for decades. "Every human ship?" asked Captain John Minho, studying the massive fleet assembled around his experimental vessel. "Every single one," Admiral Song confirmed. "Diplomatic ships, medical transports, even the garbage haulers. Everything we have." "And the aliens? Some of them are coming too." Indeed, scattered throughout the human fleet were ships from dozens of other species. The Vorthak had sent their entire space force. The Milani arrived in ships of pure energy. Even the crystal ships of the Grix joined the battle line. Click, the Vorthak team leader, explained his people's decision over the communications channel. "Humans save us from Kethvar. Now we fight beside humans against worse enemy." Bright morning light flickered with determination as he spoke for the Milani. "Humans protect research station. We protect humans." Crystal sang for the Grix. "Humans choose to be healers when they could be conquerors. Such people are worth fighting for." The battle for the Trelock system began with the devourers ignoring the approaching fleet entirely. They seemed to consider the 1,000+ ships heading toward them to be insignificant. They were wrong. The human weapons that had easily disabled the Kethvar fleet barely scratched the devourer ship's armor. But Captain John Minho's experimental vessel carried something different, technology based on the ancient ruins' energy signatures. "All ships," Admiral Song ordered, "concentrate fire on the lead devourer. Let's see what happens when we hit it with everything we have." The combined firepower of humanity's secret fleet struck the massive devourer ship like a focused star. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then cracks appeared in its dark hull, spreading like lightning across its surface. The Devourer ship exploded in a burst of energy that lit up half the system. "It worked," Captain John Minho reported. "The ancient energy technology can hurt them." "Then we have a chance," Admiral Song replied. The battle that followed would be remembered as the day the galaxy grew up. Human ships fought alongside alien vessels, sharing their advanced technology freely with anyone willing to stand against the Devourers. Dr. Park Min-ji coordinated medical support from her research station, treating wounded from a dozen different species. Engineer Kim Tae-hyun worked frantically to upgrade alien ships with human defensive systems. Ambassador Soo-jin managed communications between species that had never worked together before. When the last Devourer ship was destroyed, the combined fleet had lost nearly half its vessels. But they had won. The harvest that had destroyed previous civilizations had been stopped. Captain Do-hyun stood on the bridge of his battered research station, looking at the debris field that had once been Devourer ships. Around him, human and alien crew members worked together to repair their damaged systems. "Status report," he asked. "Heavy casualties across all species," Dr. Park Min-ji reported. "But we saved the Trelock worlds. All 3 planets are intact." "Communications from across the galaxy," added Specialist Yoon Hera. "Everyone wants to know how we did it." Ambassador Soo-jin walked onto the bridge, her diplomatic uniform torn and stained from helping with rescue operations. "The answer is simple," she said. "We did it together." Together? For the first time in galactic history, all the species worked as one fleet. Human technology, Vorthak determination, Milani energy manipulation, Grix mathematical precision. Everyone contributed what they did best. Captain John Minho's voice came over the communication system. "Admiral Song, long-range sensors are detecting more Devourer ships heading for the core systems." "How many more?" Admiral Song asked. "Thousands." There was silence on the communications channel for a moment. Then Ambassador Soo-jin spoke up. "Then we'd better get back to work." Over the following months, the galaxy learned to fight as one people. Human shipyards worked around the clock to upgrade alien vessels with the technology needed to hurt the Devourers. Alien scientists shared their knowledge to improve human weapons and defenses. The Kethavar Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for millennia, joined the fight against their common enemy. Even War Prime Hex flew alongside human ships, his black warship now equipped with human shields and ancient energy weapons. When the final Devourer ship was destroyed above the galaxy's core worlds, every species in the civilized galaxy had contributed to the victory. But more importantly, they had learned to see each other as partners rather than competitors. Captain Do-hyun returned to Research Station Alpha 7, where the alien research teams were back to studying the ancient ruins. But now they were studying them together with human scientists, sharing all their discoveries freely. "So what happens now?" asked Dr. Park Min-ji, watching Vorthak and human engineers work side by side to repair the station. "Now we build something better," Captain Do-hyun replied. "A galaxy where strength protects instead of conquers, where different species work together instead of fighting each other. And if another threat like the Devourers comes back,